Hello, everybody. This is Apostle Musings. Welcome back. Here we read about issues of life and then make constructive adjustments moving forward. Today, as usual, I have my panel members for a very important discussion. You like this, really would. I have Rachel, CEO of Returns Logistics. This woman, she's a very, very powerful businesswoman. For your freight needs, you have to contact her. She's married with over 10 years marriage experience. She's a marriage counselor and she's a woman of God. There's also Harriet, CEO of Jepo Cosmetics. She's also married with over 15 years marriage experience. She's a marriage counselor extraordinaire. She's a woman of God. Yours truly. So today, there's this issue of divided attention where most spouses do not pay particular attention to their significant others. They have time for their businesses, they have time for their phones, they have time for their computers, they have time for every other thing, but certainly not their spouses. So we're going to be discussing some of these issues with very relevant examples. So stick and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Now, somebody wrote to us and said, my wife loves her phone and friends more than me. We are going to be discussing this. So I'm going to start again with Auntie Rachel. Auntie Rachel, have you ever had a situation whereby your husband or your daughter or anyone has told you, you too they love your phone? Has it ever happened? And why do you do that?
Thank you. I think this has happened to me a couple of times. Yes. I remember before I got married, my husband reported me to my cousin that I pay too much attention to my phone to him.
Wow.
And so he's not sure that I'll give him that attention he needs. But I think that it's something we can't do without. I mean, with our phones, I mean the gadgets and our children. I mean, there are things you cannot live without them. You know, I believe that our husbands must also understand. In these times, you know, some of us we work with our phones.
Well,
you know, some of us work with our phones, and so when you come to see me with my phone, it's not as if I have nothing doing and I'm just on the phone. Yes, it's sometimes business. It's something that will bring money. And so, and sometimes we forget ourselves and then we use the phone.
Absolutely.
Yes, unnecessarily. Once I believe that we should be sometimes prompted that, oh, maybe I need your attention in this area or that. It may not be intentional. That I mean, you just decided to keep to yourself by using your phone, but you know. So I just believe that we can be prompted and you know we will adjust ourselves to the situation. Yes. So it's normal. It happens to many people and it's normal. So you should not be too worried about the fact that your wife or your husband is attached to the phone. You can also sometimes bring up something, something that will, because sometimes there is nothing, and so you just also think that, oh, okay, so let me, you know, entertain myself with the phone. So now that you can do virtually everything on the phone, you know, it becomes easier to just hide yourself, you know, with your phone. And so sometimes we must all try to come up with innovative ways of, new ways of, you know, entertaining ourselves at home. Otherwise, it is something that happens to almost everyone in the house.
Yeah, Rachel says we cannot do that. But like this is so definite. We cannot do, especially with this virtual business or platforms do this and all that. So she understands. Sometimes you want to this kind of thing. Hear it. Also take on it too. My wife is so much digital on the phone, and her friends, more than me.
Communication in marriage is important because for every friendship or relationship to work, it's important to communicate. And how do you communicate? In marriage is spending time with each other. The challenge we are having now is, as Rachel has said, there are a lot of things, especially even after COVID and within this COVID. Now we've moved a a lot of things to virtual platforms that people have to be on to be able to work and have meetings and all those kind of things. And it has become so intense that you have to virtually every minute be checking whether you've had messages or whether it's a business you are trying to operate, if something needs your attention, just like you are in the office and people need your attention. So it becomes your working tool. Then it becomes important to separate that, especially when you are in the house. But that's notwithstanding, the relationship you are in is also as important as the work that you are.
Perhaps even more so.
Even more important. And we know that, especially for the ladies, we know that our men, they want attention more than anything. They may not say it, but by their behavior and they crave attention. So we need to consciously, if your wife is on the phone almost all the time, it's not a healthy thing. Especially if you don't know what she's doing on the phone. Because that raises a lot of questions and suspicions. You ask yourself, why is she on the phone? And sometimes she'll be on the phone or you'll be on the phone, the person's laughing and smiling, and you are wondering what is going on. And maybe if you ask a lot of questions, it may seem that you are being petty or you are trying to invade too much. So even though you are uncomfortable, you are still keeping quiet. These are things that we all do unconsciously, but we need to consciously address this. If your husband comes around, especially he's from work, he's gone somewhere and he's come, or you are meeting after some time, and you're on the phone,
of distance,
yes, immediately he comes around you, no matter what you are doing, put your phone down. Give him some attention. Ask him how his day has gone. If it's your wife, same thing. Ask her how her day has gone. Serve him with whatever thing you need to serve him. And if you need to do something on the phone, you need to explain to him that, oh, I was with a client or I'm trying to give a message to somebody. I'll quickly do it and get back to you. So he has peace within him that you are not ignoring him. You've given him the attention that he needs, or you've served him, you've given him the respect, and you've asked his permission to continue what you are doing.
Wow.
The other thing is, if you are working with your phone, then you have to set your working hours. The good thing about virtual work is that you can work anytime. So if your husband is at home within that a certain period, try to make that period your off period.
Wow.
So that you're able to spend some time with him. If your husband comes home, the time that he's home,
both husband
and wife, try and make that time your off time, so that you are able to spend time with each other. You don't book appointments and serve clients, and if they hold on for an hour or so, they will not die. The business will not die. You come back, you communicate. I'm not working at this time. I'll come back and then I'll attend to you. Don't ignore your spouse. Don't make them feel that what you are doing is more important than their presence. Yeah. Then the third thing is with the friends, and especially with the ladies. Also with men, especially with the new generation men who want to marry and still have friends and go out and have buddies and all those things. You are married, your first buddy is your wife or your husband, your spouse. Make time for your spouse. Let your spouse become your priority. Let your friends know. Let there be space. I'm not saying that sack your friends, but don't put your friends before your spouse.
When the friends are around, let them know that your wife or your husband
is your priority. And when they feel secure in that, there is nothing you want to do that they will not support you. But if your husband comes in or your wife comes in, you are with your friends, even hello, cry, go on, wash them, you are not even going in and finding out, oh, is everything okay? You are there laughing, talking, doing everything you want to do. Sometimes hours after they've left, before you ask, oh, have you eaten? You know, the person will not feel appreciated. And we have to be conscious about that. Sometimes you are not doing it just because you are doing it or you want to intentionally hurt the person. But with our actions or inactions, we end up hurting the person and eventually our marriages. And this can drive the person away into the arms of other people. They try, they will, when they feel that they are being recognized or they are being made happy, they will go there.
Yes.
So we need to plan and plan very well, because as Rachel said, we cannot do away with the gadgets. It's become part of that. So it calls for planning.
Yeah.
Let's plan and have time for each other, even within this busy schedule that we have.
You, Auntie Rachel, say, she has become like, the guy has become like second fiddle.
Yes. So I agree with what Harriet said. We should be able to plan. So when you have your friends around you, you should be able to let your friends know that, especially when your spouse is in the zone, you also let them know that he is your priority or she is your priority. So whatever you need to do it, and then also let him know that you have these friends around you, want to also see them. Once there is that communication, I think it helps. Some people will not say anything and just leave you to decide whatever you have to decide. And that is not right. Once your spouse is around, let him feel appreciated. Let him feel that he matters to you more than any other.
You said something, it skipped me. You said attention. In all that we are doing with your phones and with your friends and all that, when you realize that your spouse is uncomfortable or they tell you, I am being left out. You see, some people take it to be, the spouse is being petty. Get with it. This is life. Get with it. And they downplay the effect of how ignoring your spouse for business and for gadgets, the effect it can have. Can that actually break relationship like that? Neglect or say, get over it, get to it. But also catch you say, I don't feel comfortable. So what will you tell people?
But the actions and inactions will tell, say, no, it's not comfortable with the way I would me, to leave him just like that. And in that situation, you must, you must know the kind of person you are with. Some people are not bothered at all. They need
and the love sign, attention. The love language, attention.
There's a more quality opposite the Pia and it's what time in China. Opposite who say you're one in charge. Some people you can't afford to deny them that. And it's only more enough for that or something in China. Also, more be able to
you don't have to downplay it.
You should not.
Actually,
yes, it can really damage the relationship. So, I was afraid not or withdraw. There was a time on no first I also hear attention on his own view. And that's how you see that multi but the relationship is apart. We are some phobia. Until there was a baby also the mount, no so air withdraw, and before you know you see yourselves apart, even though you live together. That's a serious effect on the relationship if you don't really take a critical look at it.
Yeah, I totally
any form of relationship is the more you talk to somebody, you come together.
Yeah.
The more then you get to know each other, the person, the more you want to spend time with the person, the more you discover the person's likes and dislikes. And you can never do that when you are not communicating. One thing that I have realized is that sometimes the thing we deal easily with, if it is a challenge with somebody, we think that we downplay it.
It's true.
Because we, based on our personality and our strength, we are able to handle those things. So when somebody talk about it, we don't see the reason why it's a problem. And that is sometimes what affects a lot of marriages. What the spouse is complaining about, the other spouse thinks it's not anything that should be too relevant or that should affect the marriage. So they listen all right, but taking an action to stop what they are doing, they don't, because they think that this in itself shouldn't have any effect on this. But communication, break in friendship, in marriage, can destroy the marriage. You may not physically divorce, but spiritually, emotionally, you are one. If you are, especially if your spouse sees you happy around people, laughing, chatting, with people and you come home and you are not able to do that same thing with the person, then the person starts asking questions. That why is it that you don't like me, or I'm not enough, or I don't make you happy, and you know, and especially the men, when they complain 1, 2, they stop. And they start brooding within them. They start having pains and having all this emotional thing in them. And a little thing, they become stressed out and those things. So I beg you, in marriage, anything your spouse says, and especially also to the men, if your wife complains about anything, then can say where they are mass, where they are mass, that thing, it dampens the marriage, it dampens the fire. It dampens the commitment, the love. It dampens it. Because in marriage, if the person feels they are not appreciated or loved or cared for, physically they are there, but every other way they are not there. And you will not enjoy the marriage. Everything can blow you apart. So if any comments your spouse makes, take time and accept it. And if you need to make changes in your own life, so that your spouse will be happy and comfortable, even it means you sacrificing something, you should be able to do it.
Your friends and your phone.
Oh yes. Because there are people every weekend, they have some engagement with their friends. When was the last time you went out with your husband or your wife? When was the last time you took a small vacation to spend time with each other? Some spouses, when they sit even for an hour, they don't have anything to talk about. After they talk about their children's school and all that, they don't have anything. They can't even create conversation. But this same spouse can create a whole lot of conversation with their friends. So who are you getting married to? Your friends? Make a decision. Make a decision. This is where my friends, this is the level. God, if I don't know how to talk to my husband or my wife, teach me, show me how. I believe that everything you can ask the Holy Spirit to help you. Because if you push this man away and someone grabs him and secure him, maybe he will come back. But the kind of prayer and crying you cry and pray. Yes. The things you are discussing with your friends, discuss them with your husband or your wife. It will help.
So, yeah, you are replacing the joy of your home with your friends and your gadgets. And well, even if you have to do business on your phone, know the limits to which you can go. And if your spouse demands for your attention, I always say that marriage, like, it's a ministry. That's why Jesus never married, because it would have swayed him from his ministry. That is, oh yes. Marriage and the woman, they would have swayed him from his ultimate purpose. So that now that you're also married, that is your ultimate, you're also married, that is your ultimate purpose. Your wife's happiness is your priority, your husband's happiness is your priority. Yeah, so if your spouse tells you anything that brings them discomfort, in the area of your friends and your attention to them, take them serious. Before you live in an empty shell marriage, you know an empty shell marriage? Marriage if that's what you want. Well. So thank you for watching. I want to thank my panelists, Harriet and Deborah. Thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Hit the like button, the bell notification icon, so comments, and let's get into it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.